Hi guys, I'm Gray from Kaki Tabletop. I'm the curator of this network of tabletop gaming communities from all over Malaysia. We also link up with Singapore, Brunei, Indonesia and Philippines and beyond. So come find more Kaki to play tabletop games, whether it's board games, miniatures, RPGs or TCGs. See you around. We instituted 9 rules this year because we want to keep some troublemakers away.
What happened actually, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, there's
Was
so
that
much.
like prior kids that came to buy the events and such?
So because I curate the community, I always call myself a curator because I don't own all the groups. I network all the groups together. Each of the 4 scenes have got their own weird drama going on. So and because now they're all brought together, I have to watch out. We have people soliciting when they shouldn't. We've got harassers and God knows what else. So I had to check the staffing list and I make sure everyone knows I'm the one here, so the bad actors stay away. Things like that. Yeah,
plus, you want to do some basic background check to like make sure that one doesn't harass the other kind of thing.
So they all got to know that the Godfather's watching.
You come my daughter's wedding. But overall, right? To the experience as it is, it's like, what do you feel so far, boss, like for the whole event, in your almost honest opinion?
So when we did this last year, in June last year, if you ask me January last year, there was 0 plans for a convention. What happened was right after COVID, every mall was doing cosplay events.
Yes, correct.
And then everyone did the same thing. They all just depleted the attention of Malaysia after a while. You noticed that there was a drop off. So then there was this weird trend. Some of them tried to do board game events. Then every single mall started doing chess. And so a few malls approached me and I said, hey, I can do you one better. So I showed them all this proposal instead. So that one thing led to another and that's where we did the first one here. So it was more like opportunity knocks and I decided to manifest Kaki Tabletop's 4 quadrants into reality here.
I see.
So there was no actual plan, it happened. And since we did last year, there were questions whether we want to do it this year. I'm like, okay, fine, we'll do it again. So we already got a template and just improving it as the years go by. So to say that, like there are other tabletop conventions as well. I kind of support them, share information, but this is to my preference, the sort of curation, so to speak. That's why I mentioned just now, there's no open call for vendors. They're selected to represent the scene.
Correct, because they're all key parts of the group, especially for the events itself. That was something that caught my eye. When I was talking to you through the Instagram and everything, I realized that it's not just because I thought it's like, oh, this is my group, all will represent under me kind of thing.
I curate a few, so there's a mix and match situation. Even the RPGs, TCGs, there's a couple of stalls.
Yeah, correct.
Of course, I have to make sure that they are okay with each other, rivalries. But most of them are okay sitting next to each other. And I try and make sure each section has got something representing like made in Malaysia or designed by Malaysia. So there are Malaysian designers there, even the Malaysian miniatures, which most people don't even know when trying to promote them, Malaysian RPG writers, and Malaysian TCG accessory designer. So they're not the only ones, obviously, but they are that aspect of the industry is represented. So it's an industry/community situation.
I see. So in some form of way, it's like it's not just a hybrid of like one specific group or niche. It's like a combination of all of it together at one.
Hence, I always repeat the word curation. It's a very academic approach to divide tabletop into these 4 sections. In fact, some people say tabletop can be misconstrued to just mean miniature or whatever. But it's a very Wikipedia argument thing. Tabletop is a super group, and then you have the 4. It's very hard to find something that doesn't fit into one of these 4. Some things are hybrids, but generally you kind of have the feeling it's one of these 4.
You gotta I think what you were trying to absolute best is that show them like, okay, yes, correct. It is technically somewhat of a miniature game, but at the same time, it's like, don't forget there is technically like miniatures that involves its own demographic or specific people that comes to play with it. And that doesn't mean they have to play. Some of them are just there for
some
collecting.
people are collectors, painters and all that. That's something you learn about miniatures, and the reason why you'll notice the naming is very specific. So for example, board gaming is not just board games, because we're not inviting just the publishers. We're inviting the play communities as well, or the people who sell and designers. Miniature games is about the games and the objects in the game. So not just the game store. You have like the designers, the painters and all that. So you when I did this I started to learn something about each of the four. They are quite different animals, similar but different.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
miniature is like 50% is painting, 50% is actually playing.
Yes, correct.
So not like TCG is like it's all collecting and playing. Very few people double down on the accessories. Some people do, some people don't. Board games completely not, but some people do have accessories. Very few.
Yes,
So it just
correct.
depends what you're into. You know, the whole Euro game, Americana game, all that. RPGs, we have a lot of different systems. You know, obviously, you know, guys know about D&D.
Yeah.
Then you have a lot of local ones as well, and then some smaller ones. Relatively speaking, you know, like Chaosium, Paizo, and all that.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I was quite happy that you don't like try to bundle up under like, hey, this is everything one, just splash it onto the floor kind of thing. It's like it's its own thing. It has deserved its own title and like limelight into it. And I'm appreciate that you're giving this group of people
We're
like
trying to show that there's enough space for everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Because unlike a lot of industries, you know, like everyone sells coffee, everyone sells beer, they're like, no offense, almost the same thing. This one is like the variety is almost mind-boggling. There's so many subcategories. Even the store opened up, like some of these shops, they have a so-called rival down the road, and yet they can survive because their products are diverse enough. And that's the thing, like, it's a signifier of a neighborhood and all that when they have these many stores nearby.
True. That's why I was like kind of happy to know that like at least within this community that you have created and for the event
I
especially.
curated, not created.
Yeah. Sorry, curated. I had to
It's okay.
the
yeah.
wording that one. Curated for the audience especially. This is definitely the expectation that I'm happy to say from a nerd perspective. It's like,
Yeah.
it's good. It's
Yeah,
really,
the
really good.
full buffet.
Yeah, the buffet
Yeah,
is
yeah.
here. Like you want the taste of everything, you got a chance of it. Also, right, this is the question because I asked me and my cameraman were having this joke was like, why specifically this mall? And is it because it's cheap or is it because they offered to you, boss?
So like I mentioned, that a few malls did reach out. They all tried to do like a board game thing, and they all end up being Chess or Scrabble. No offense. And then so I pitched to a few malls, hey, how about this? I'll do you one better. Then this was one of the one or two that responded positively, and they're willing to sponsor it. So yeah, like, we picked this mall basically. Not we picked. They were willing to they were willing to have us. Basically, this is sponsored by Great Eastern Mall. Fully sponsored last year, but this year they partially sponsored. This year they start charging the booths, but it is supported by the mall. Yeah, so it's we are bringing a very unique footfall to the mall. You ask everyone here, most of them thought this mall was dead, but and that's a mission as well because when I curate all these tabletop guys, we're supporting local industry. I love supporting small local businesses. Technically, this mall is a local businesses as well, right? So I'm happy to bring footfall to malls that need attention. So it's kind of like that.
So it's like a win-win for everybody.
I'm trying to do my part for the economy.
Yeah, understandable. No, because when I was joking with him, I was telling to myself, I was like, it's either two things. Is that one is like you're either helping out the mall or the mall came to approach you.
They approached me first.
Yeah.
But I had to pitch them to do something other than chess.
Correct.
So it takes two to tango, basically.
True. Because I was like suspecting that myself. Like then the other joke was that it's because the mall is closer to the event organizers. That was the joke.
No, I don't live near here. It just happens to be a KL address, so I'm just like, oh, let's just do it, kind of thing.
Understandable. Because we have like friends from other event organizers for like anime and such, where their house is like, oh, my house to the mall is like less than 10 minutes.
No,
5
I
minutes.
book an Airbnb across the highway. Yeah.
So it's like, then you're like, oh, okay, that makes so much
A
sense.
few of us are staying across the road just for the weekend.
Yeah, exactly. But this is nice, like overall, like what you have done so far. But in terms of your opinion, right, boss, like the one thing I want to ask, which is a bit harder on the question, since you brought up the whole topic, like the beef between each other, this is something that I kind of like told him about in preparation, is that like, the one thing I don't like about this community, no offense, is that there's a bit of that elite behavior kind of thing, where people are like really like, oh, I gatekeep this community because I don't want people to like ruin it kind of thing.
So that's where I come in, to be honest. So what I do is that the people I curate for this event are explicitly beginner friendly. Everyone here wants to expand their segment and just bring more people into the genre, basically. And some of them are game publishers or game designers. So obviously they bring more people in. They feed people down to the stores. Some of these stores, they're specialists in the thing and no other store does it, for example. So and they're already growing their segment. So that's why it's a more open-minded kind of thing. Like, even like Kaki Tabletop, truth be told, the core, how it really started was there are a lot of Facebook groups for all the different ones.
Yeah,
so what I
exactly.
did was I reached out to the admins of every single group, Pokemon, One Piece, Magic, whatever, and I say, hey, I'm Kaki Tabletop, do you want to link up? Rather than I start my own group, do you want to just link up so we can funnel people into the different groups and all that? Then they're all okay. So we have this, that's why it's called a network. I always call Kaki Tabletop a network of tabletop gaming communities. I don't own everything, I just curate and network them together. Yeah, so the idea is like, when you play one game, few years later you might switch game. We all know that happens.
Yeah,
but not just switch within TCG example, you can switch within
Other like
all the genres as
other
well.
niches of the group,
Yeah,
especially.
or you're like, suddenly like, oh, like my colleague, I didn't know they played Warhammer. Then like suddenly they appear in the other group. Oh, you're within the same network, same sort of, it feels like a big family kind of feeling.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically. So that's why that there are gatekeepers, but they have sort of gone off for their own little niches here and there. They wouldn't collaborate with me if they want to educate, because they know that I explicitly want to bring in more people.
Yeah,
There
exactly.
has been a few in the early days of Kaki Tabletop. There are a few people I invited, and they go like,
Oh,
"Oh,
we
sorry,
can-
Gray, we want to disconnect from you because we didn't like how you were bringing too many newbies to our group." I'm like,
All right, fine.
"That's
Yeah,
just you." But for me, it's like, I'm the kind of person who I joke I like unlimited soup. Like,
Yeah.
I'm the guy who's like Star Wars sequels, prequels, original. Give me more. I don't care.
Yeah, it's like I don't care. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
just because you like the book more than the movie now, that doesn't
Yeah.
mean like people should not enjoy the movie and enjoy the book.
More
again.
stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Variety is a spice of life kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the spice must flow. That means more variety must flow. So
Yeah.
give me more. Give me more.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's why it's like my biggest concern is that when I converse with my cameraman, that one is that I for me like don't want to recommend even people. My honest opinion is I don't want to recommend people to even join this group of community because it's very hell bent by people who people don't like nerds. There's no denying that. They're okay.
Trying to
with
do
geeks.
my part to bring us out
Yeah.
into the
The
light.
limelight. It's like then there's already people who are like tolerant with geeks with like their weird obsession with like games and such and animes. And then now it's like the group of people like, okay, now the new generation is kicking in. Now the whole idea is like, okay, are they still gonna be like gatekeeping it or like being now with the word toxic is throwing around everywhere as well, like being aggro to each other. That's how I was like kind of a bit how to say, not wanting to suggest because even like the idea of like Warhammer, I don't like the community because of that reasoning alone.
So there's another way to approach this, and I can say this because I've done this for about 10 years now, right? We assume that we have probably the old nerds. We have been doing this for decades of our life at this point. Then suddenly you'll find like your old friends will find that these games are cool after all, and they might enter late. So in the past, the cool kids might judge us. It's our job now to not judge them and welcome them into the community. Because pop culture stuff like Stranger Things, obviously, Star Wars, and now the hot dude Henry Cavill is making Warhammer cool.
Yeah.
They're sort of like ambassadors to push it out into the public, and then slowly more people will seep in.
Yeah,
And we
correct.
just have to be there to introduce people, basically. And then stores, and they might not vie with you specifically, but they can vie with a different store within the larger industry or community.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why I see it from a higher perch, kind of like, if they don't fit with this, they can fit somewhere else.
Right.
If it's somewhere, it's impossible to completely not fit.
Yeah.
It'll be a bit weird.
Because
Yeah.
your niche doesn't mean it's specifically towards one thing. It's like, yeah, you like Magic the Gathering.
Not this niche,
Yeah.
but there are theoretically an infinite number of niches.
Niches,
You
like,
must fit somewhere.
somewhere,
Yeah, we'll
exactly.
find you somewhere.
Like if you like
Yeah,
Magic, you should like D&D because it's
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe. But yeah.
Yeah, it's true. But I feel like it's like the same goes is like if you like the idea of fantasy and such, you can also roam into the world of like miniatures because
But that's why events like this are for. Because you come and it's an open space. Because we all know if you go to a store, some of them smell a little, it feels claustrophobic, and you have to enter the den of the monster, right?
Yeah.
But here it's public, people generally feel a bit safer, so they'll come, you can still see people just kind of like looking like that. You know, first encounter, you may not talk to us yet, but it's a familiarization tactic.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
my day job is I'm in digital marketing, and marketing is like, you got to exposure first, awareness. This is what it's for. You know, they might not come today, they'll just see photos and all that. Then maybe they come for a meetups, they'll drop by a store one fine day, who knows? And they hear about this, they think it's okay. Maybe someone else in the community, their friend invites them. And because they've seen here, then they're more likely to follow that other friend. So it's like a they don't all have to come through me. It's like a chain link kind of thing, if you know what I mean.
True.
Yeah. So this is just one way of
Bringing them
soft
together.
introduction, public exposure, and all that. That's why I like doing. Other than conventions, I used to collaborate with other conventions and appear as a booth inside their stuff, or collaborate with
I
other
think
events.
I've seen you guys in your booth specifically,
yeah.
like back in the day. I think
yeah.
like for like Anima Gaki or Vax or such.
That'll be them. But I
yeah.
work with them sometimes and all that. So the idea is to just appear in public. I personally don't really organize stuff in stores anymore. I organize stuff in cafes, in pubs, in malls to expose the public to us and us to the public, something like that. So to sort of like a normalization, I guess. Yeah. You say, oh, you guys exist, that kind of thing. Like I used to play D&D with my group in a pub. And they're all like all the rugby nerd guys on one side. We're just a different kind of nerd. The rugby nerds and the D&D nerds all in the pub, so that's okay. Yeah, right now we also do monthly meetups in a dessert cafe. And that's a bit strange because you think desserts is a dating place, but also we're playing board games there. So we have this sort of meet in the middle space, trying to blend everything together.
It's a taste of familiarity lah. It's like something that you're familiar, the landscape you're familiar with.
We try.
Yeah, and then you bring them to a spot where it's like, it's a concept, a really bizarre concept, but at least you get them into a zone where they're more, how to say, comfortable with in the end of the day. Which I like it. I really, really do. And
It's a go to them rather than them come to us.
Yes,
situation.
exactly. Yes, because I like what you say. I'm not going to bring them to like, hey, let's go to a card game like a TCG shop.
Instead of asking them to climb the mountain, we literally turun padang.
Yeah, it's like I'll meet you halfway. Let's not go up the mountain itself.
Yeah. So it's a exposure tactic, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad. This is a really good technique, and I appreciate that. What have you done so far, boss? This is like how to say, a very welcoming change, because I really don't like the community overall, and I'll be very honest. And
I hope you like the ones here.
No, overall, I think from what Hobby Outpost is, what I've experienced so far, I would say it's very welcoming.
Hobby Outpost is unique because they do miniatures and TCG.
Yes,
and that's a
exactly.
combination you rarely see, to be honest.
True.
And some of them, like this is RPG and board games. So they're all a bit different combos.
True. I would say that it's more towards the, how to say, I like to listen to fans rather than the shop owners, because it's like I want to hear your enthusiastic side teaching me things rather than the owners, because they're learning the product to sell to you. So I don't mind either, but I will always prefer like, like your perspective is like, I'm coming in from a background where niche comes from nerds teaching other nerds like, oh, you like this? Let me tell you about the whole fandom lore for the next 6 hours that I can think of, kind of thing. It's like, oh, it's very overwhelming. But if you like it, then you say, oh, I'm really engaged now for some damn reason. Yes.
You invite them in and then see how long they're willing to stay and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point. I was like, I don't mind being the awkward one, because it's a chance for them to like really get a feel for it, rather than just like go to a spot which you and I can agree, it's like it's hit or miss. It can be a really great place to explore, or just smells and uncomfortable for most people, especially.
Yeah. We try and go to more publicly accessible places.
Yes, correct.
It's all about accessibility and all that as well.
So, any plans in the future, like any places or any like scopes, or how big the event is going to be for you?
I'll be honest, this particular event itself, International Tabletop Day, I'm likely to continue doing it. Probably here or elsewhere, we're not sure. But as long as they're willing to help us as sponsors, then we'll keep doing it. I do wish I can do more outside of Klang Valley. That's something, because, all the groups, and I recently visited a few other states recently, and they all say, oh, I didn't know I could join this group, because I thought most people just, whenever they say Malaysia, they just mean KL. I'm like, no, I'm here in your state.
Yes.
Which is Sarawak, actually.
Yeah.
So, and then I'm going to Sabah next month as well for another thing to promote D&D as well. So it's, when I say this is like something Malaysia, no, I actually mean it. Like I've been to Penang, to Kedah, to Perlis, we went to Malacca, Negeri Sembilan, Johor as well. We're going to do East Coast soon. Once the ECRL opens, then we'll go. I like trains. It's a thing that I want to spread out to other states as well. Yeah, because we do have subgroups for every state actually.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, kind of use that as a barometer for how many people in each state. If you go to a website with a map of every single store, the whole of Malaysia, So you can kind of use that as a metrics measure to see where are the people.
Where the community are,
Yeah,
especially
yeah.
in that
And then I
group.
can, during Padang, go to the store, let's say the state with like one store, do you need help?
Yeah, like there's also
Things
like
like that,
because I'm one of police, so
Ah.
police is already as known for like the smallest state where you can just walk across each other.
So for Perlis, okay, use it as an example. Facebook group combines Perlis with Kedah because people do travel
Yeah,
between
travel
those two.
between each other,
Kedah
correct.
has like 3 stores now, I
Yes,
think.
correct.
And Perlis has no stores, but
None.
there's my friend who works in the Unimap. And he's an English lecturer and he uses RPG to teach English. I don't know if you know about that one.
I'm not too familiar, but the name might ring a bell.
Yeah,
for me.
Hisham. Yeah.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, so he's known in the RPG scene internationally as well, and he's using like D&D, Star Wars, and a few other game systems to teach English. And he's done it for so many years now. The kids are finally catching on, and they're starting a tabletop club in their uni. So it's finally happening after so many years of work. I actually went up a couple of times. So it takes a while, and once the uni catches on, like that weird gentrification problem when academic kids pick it up, and then eventually they will turn into like, I don't know, white collar workers, and they'll start to someone to open a shop and all that. So
Yeah.
it's a sign of progress in the state as well, weirdly enough.
True,
It's like instead of the Big Mac index, you have the tabletop game store index.
Yeah, so it's like
I know.
like you know where it's coming from and you know how
You
it's
know
going
the
to branch
state
out.
is up and coming when they actually have money to spend on hobbies.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a weird kind of measure, but
Yeah, it's a how do you say, a branching path from where it's coming from.
yeah.
So I think that's a very good how to say uh, what's the word for it? Branching a path for it for a lot of people that wants to get into this kind of like category of hobby and niche in a way.
Yeah. It's like a, how to say, it's a space for them to be
Yeah.
introduced to it.
Correct. It's like whatever you want it to be. You can do it for business reasons, collectible reasons. You can do it for new hobbies to paint, new hobbies to collect, and pretty much like
half the jobs that I have interviewed at and gotten, I actually met my bosses through tabletop gaming actually, and quite a lot of people are meeting their spouses. I met my wife playing games as well, and some of their people meeting their partners and all that. So this is another layer of society. Like some of my friends, they pretend to be religious to go to the mosque or the church. So this is another alternative to socialize.
okay, understand
The social layer, trying to solve the hikikomori problem. I'm
yes.
using tabletop games trying to solve a lot of national problems.
Yeah,
I'm not
true.
going to join politics, but
Yeah. You and I will, for the Kevin reasons as well, it's like we don't want to go too deep into it, but I think us talking about like the very hardcore elite, that one I think it's good to acknowledge because it's something you and I have experienced, and we know like those people really exist and they're really terrible.
yeah. So I'm trying to use tabletop to open up to society, try and solve economic problems, help people
Get into
grow
it.
local businesses and all that, and then try and help to solve the social hikikomori problem as well. So this has some benefits for society.
Yes, exactly.
Not truly intangible like some people think. It can actually be measured.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't have to be, how to say, more towards, how to say, monetary reasons. It doesn't have to be like for good, big reasons, especially. I would say like just basic enough to get them into the door is good enough already.
I mean, like people, I'm sure you heard this about hobbies, like people spend an inordinate amount of money on useless things and it doesn't benefit them economically, but they're happy, right? So there is social currency. There is the literal dopamine hit from playing games. And if you're happy, then,
Go ahead.
it's a healthy society. So this is one way of doing it. Please spend your money here. Please waste time here and be happy. That's
exactly.
the point, What's the point of living if you're not happy? So,
Right, it's like be happy. Like, this is a new ground to play around and should not be taken for granted.
And notice this, majority of the stuff here are non-competitive. I don't focus on the competition part of miniature wargaming. Even the TCG section is mostly learn to play. Very little competitive aspect. So to me, when I play games, everyone thinks I'm the best at every game. I'm like, no, I suck at most games. But I like playing it. I don't care if I lose. It's the act of playing. It's not the destination, but the journey that matters. Corny as it sounds, but that's what gaming should be like.
Yeah. And I come from a background where I like the community better because if the community is like nice to me, they're welcoming me into their circle, I'm more than happy to like, hey, I'm willing to stick around and see what you guys are going to offer to me. It's like, like what you say, it doesn't have to be for the sake of small monetary reasons and such. It's like whatever you see value.
This is not something you jump into to make money.
Correct. Exactly.
This is something you jump into to build a better world, enjoy yourself, personal fulfillment, that sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. I agree to that. And I think that you have succeeded really greatly on that department.
I mean, it's only been 10 years.
It's better than nothing. I would say that is way better than us continuing to agree that like, oh, we should just stick to the stores and stick to certain cafes. Like, no. If I were to branch out, this will be the
There's space for everyone.
Yeah,
basically.
exactly.
In fact, we haven't reached market saturation yet. Based on my research, Malaysia has the same number of stores as Singapore.
In terms of like all
The number, so you combine all board game, TCG, miniature, RPG stores, the whole
amount.
of Singapore and Malaysia, it's the same number, almost the same number. And that means
there's a lot. that we
there's a
haven't-
lot of space here. And of course, the economic power is higher. But even if you divide that number, we still have a lot of space. Yeah, and support local games, rather international ones as well, because it will follow our price point as well.
True, it's something that we can afford, and then people can afford as well to get into the hobby. And I feel like I think a lot of them are, a lot of the products are technically not local. That one we disclaimer, they're not all
About
local.
half of them.
Yeah, but half of them at least people can get into it, and it's man-made brand locally.
I
Especially.
mean, it's like coffee, right? Malaysia barely grows enough coffee. We import a lot of coffee, and yet there are a lot of local businesses depending on coffee to exist. So it's the same thing. That's how I see stores break in foreign games, because the product may be there, but it's in the playing of the game with local people and the people they hire and the game masters who are all here. That therein lies the local aspect
True.
and our own national flavor of how we play the game.
That's good because I feel like because I think when I met you, disclaimer for audience that didn't know, I met him technically was by accident, literally at what was the event that we were in?
KLIF.
Yeah, KLIF.
Yeah.
And then I met you by accident, and you were talking to one of the.
I was just standing in the RPG
I was
booth.
like, I'm interested in what the guy was telling because he made his own law and the world and the language.
No,
and
that's
the
what I
Bible.
used to do. So I used to open a booth in other people's events, and I would set up like the D&D board game thing. So all our people will flock towards.
Yeah, it's
the
like,
booth.
hey. It's like, oh look, there goes everybody.
Yeah, so this is similar, but just macro version, if that makes sense. There are other stuff happening this weekend also, but I expect most of the tabletop people to come here. That's what it's for. In fact, I met some people who said that they're not here to play games, they're just using this event as a rally point to call
meet
up
up.
their old gang and hang out again. And that's the nice part.
Yeah, true. I think that's the same situation with cosplay community. They don't really go to the event. In fact, they just
Lobby con.
yeah.
we all know.
Yeah. So they do meet up. For context for the audience is that
Yeah.
there are people who uses the events just to hang out, especially. So we agree. That's
The
kind of
topic
nice.
as a rally point.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
And I think it's good that they're now considering this as like, okay, you want to meet up? Let's meet up here. There's an event going on. Let's
It's
take
an excuse.
an excuse to get
A
out of the
trigger
house.
to bring people together. Yeah.
Correct. Which I'm like, that's honestly that's a big honor. It's like, wow, I hold the badge now. Say that this is your considered hangout spot. Then congrats, I won.
Yeah, I saved them all from dying.
Yeah.
I did my part for the economy.
But if in the future, right, boss, let's say if things do get bigger and expand along the way, would you still continue to do in the malls like this concept?
What does it mean by expand?
No, like this big communities.
No,
and then,
okay, so I've asked people the question, what do you mean by expand? What is a qualifier of success? Does it mean bigger is better? Does it mean more diverse is better? More frequent is better? Because I do monthly meetups at a cafe and sometimes rec scale, depending on who gives the space, I'll probably do it there. We get about 20 to 30 packs every month. 50% of them are faces I've never seen before.
In your
If
entire
you
life.
accumulate all the people, that's at least a quarter of the people are going to come today. And if I assume by the same metrics, 50% of these people have never been at a tabletop event before, that means the engagement rate is the same. It's just absolute volume versus that. So,
Yeah,
and
correct.
if I do small meetup events, I show people it is doable. Other people copy me, fine. Everyone does their bit everywhere else, then the whole community grows. And if I'm doing this, honestly, it's a demonstration to other conventions like, hey, you can do this. Please do some version of it. Then if more people do it, then it's like selling milk, like all around the world. If you want to increase sales for milk, you just work with your so-called competitors to grow the milk segment among beverages. Then the whole industry can grow as a whole.
True.
Yeah, so it's something like that. To say next year what happens, is it bigger convention, more events, more frequently? or more variety? Do I do a sub-event for TCG, sub-event for board games? I don't know. Do I empower or work with other organizers, which I've done last year as well? It could be all the above. Yeah, I don't have to be the biggest one, basically.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so it's diversity in the scene is better. Yeah.
I would say like the expenditure is not towards like we can go like let's say like food traffic. Obviously, you need to start having space that's a bit bigger to accommodate food traffic, just in case there's a lot of audience. Second of all, maybe like the vendors. Let's say like more vendors are now noticing your event. More of them would like to like feature themselves accordingly to the event itself, which in turn is like you also have to make way for other vendors that wants to have a spot.
So it depends, right? I call this one International Tabletop Day. Supposedly representative of Malaysia. Most of these guys from Klang Valley. Some of them travel from further away. But let's say I did an event in last year, I did one at MMU in Cyber, basically. So I would curate all the stores from the south of KL. If I did an event in Shah Alam, I would curate all the stores in the north of KL or North PJ, Shah Alam area. Because there's no point in doing an event that doesn't benefit the store directly. If let's say you do a convention, let's say here, and a store all the way from Klang comes here, and then people come, oh, where's your store? Klang, oh, I live nearer to this place. So there's no point you interacted with them. It's honestly a waste of time, right? So I'm trying to do events that benefit the local businesses around that area. That makes more sense to me. That's why the thing about states as well, that if I do a so-called big Malaysia level event, but you are some store from Terengganu or whatever, what's the point? You come all the way here and then, so it doesn't make sense. I'm trying to support local businesses with that.
So it's more like the vicinity of like where you located, that will be the vicinity of the shops.
Yeah, so one way is that to do more events, more conventions everywhere, but curate or pull or to help the certain radius
the locals
around
of that of the event itself.
Yeah. But if that area doesn't have, example, no miniature stores in Kepong, I can't remember, but let's say there's none. Then curate one from further away to seed the community there. Then eventually a club might appear. Then next year I'll invite the club instead of the shop. Then the club may turn into a store one day. Who knows? It's the evolutionary thing.
Yeah.
So it's like a seeding program, forced biodiversity. That's one way of looking at it.
That's one way to
guess.
put it. I think that's great. That's even better because for most people, like the business mindset is that we will get more people, more vendors, more people. Food traffic gets bigger and everything inside. It's good for business perspective. It's very good. But your ideology of wanting to do this event is not for the monetary reasons. It's actually more towards like awareness of the whole situation. Like both.
It's a very academic approach to the problem.
Correct, exactly. That's why I'm kind of happy to have this conversation with you because most. No offense to other vendors I've interviewed, is that we have people who are more towards monetary reasons, which I like it as well because it shows.
I mean, there are some, like I'm sure you know, there are some events in KL last year that were about the TCG collectors.
Yeah.
And they also cross over baseball, basketball, collectible cards.
Yeah, exactly.
The sneaker guys, the hype beasts and all that.
The Hyperbeast gang.
Those, they do exist, we acknowledge that. But it's a bit different. I think the events I do is more about the gaming rather than collecting components of the game. It's a bit different. We do mesh in a bigger industrial community, but I'll focus on the gaming aspect.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not
the interactability, not the collecting part.
I mean, the clue is in the name Kaki Tabletop.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm here to help you find Kaki to play more tabletop games.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not about, you can if you want, but my mission is a bit different.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you play more, you probably patronize the shop more. More shops and local businesses online or go to cafes, things like that. So that's the more bigger mission, the social aspect of it.
Yeah, bringing the whole the whole awareness towards it one way to another, which I'm very grateful to hear that actually.
Just to support the point as well, I hold no shares in any of these shops.
Okay.
Everybody thought I owned all these shops. No, these are just my friends. I don't
know any of them other than personally as it is.
Yeah. So if anyone who has never worked with me before, just message me and I'll find something to do with you one day. Because some of these guys have been waiting to work with me for 5 years. And it's like, you have to wait for the right combo to hit, for the stars to align, then it makes more sense. You can't force something to happen, but you gotta get to know everyone lah. So turun padang, talk to the stalls and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Some people thought I work for a specific distributor or
Yeah.
publisher, or I own shares in certain stores. No. I'm just a guy.
I'm just an enthusiast.
I have this website. I put a map of literally everybody. Even some of the stores who don't like me, you're a store, fine. Some of the games who maybe the publisher doesn't like me, you're a game in Malaysia, I'm still going to put you on the list. So just to say, the website has a map of the whole of Malaysia, every single store, list of every single game that's made and designed in Malaysia as well. So no bias, it's a very academic approach. Directory, listing everything, and it's there for people to find them. Then there's the SEO game and things like that. And we're one of the highest traffic sites for this kind of thing in Malaysia. So, and if the store see value in that, they can work with me. Fine.
True. I think so that for audience especially, I think you guys can check out the website and see the list of like vendors and other people that you are currently like known.
There's I didn't wear my own tag.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
So I think I'll just give later. We'll just give on
KakiTabletop.com is the entity website, but we do have separate social media for the 4 genres. For some reason, people are interested in one specific genre, not the rest. You follow all of them, Kaki Tabletop for the events thing. But today's event is ITTD.my, International Tabletop Day Malaysia.
Okay,
So that's just for today. But honestly, it just redirects to a specific page in Kaki Tabletop.
Yeah, it still goes back to the same link itself. At the end
Kaki Tabletop is where we are housing everything. Yeah.
Understandable. I think that's good. Like for now, for the majority of it, and I think for the audience especially, I think they're just happy to know that what you have here especially is that you're not excluding like, oh, it's just for the hardcore niche. No, it's everyone. It's purposely made to have everyone to come here.
People have actually messaged me asking, can they come and demo games and all that? I want to, but space is unfortunately a premium. So I'm choosing certain things. Yes.
Yeah.
In the future, if we get a bigger space, maybe we can bring in World War I and II miniature gamers. There's a specific group for that.
Yeah?
They do exist, but they're played by a certain group who may not be that public. They don't have a shop, they import it themselves. Then like RPGs, there's specific games. There's so few game masters that the material is not available in Malaysia. For some reason, the distributors don't want to bring it here. But
like really, they just don't bother?
Yeah, they're niche somewhere else. I'll use one example, TCG. We all know Netrunner, right?
Yeah.
The Netrunner collapsed, but they came back as Netrunner Nisei, right? That new game is published globally, but there's no shop that carries it here. But there is a community. But if I invite them, they can't afford the booth. And so I'm already personally sponsoring a couple of booths here already for communities that are here, like Othello, for example. So it's a bit hard to bring them in. It's a cost balance kind of thing as well. But we'll branch out and not really branch out, but expand the scope eventually and include more people. Or if you have been to my event 2 or 3 times, I'll rotate you out for someone else eventually.
Yeah, exactly. Like
to give everyone a chance. I use the word curator, and I've joked to people at some point I might even open the tabletop museum. Who knows? You heard it here first.
Yeah.
There are only 2 tabletop museums in the whole world, you know. One in UK, one in US. There's none in Asia. So I might open one. Who knows? But curator to
be
curate.
the first in Southeast Asia will be really a big hallmark of its own.
First in Asia, whatever.
Yeah.
But the idea is to curate exhibits, all the different genres, to put them together so people can see what's going on. Yeah. So that's the bigger mission, maybe. Yeah. But we're not there yet.
Yeah, we'll have to see, because then again also like we don't, because I don't think you have like
cost reasons is the biggest issue.
Cost reasons, and also like we gotten to the point where we haven't like actually gone out to other Southeast Asia countries and other Asian countries to like.
I mean, there are other people doing it in other countries as well. So I'm actually networking with some people. Like there's a group here called Lai Play Liao here today. Lai Play Liao is sort of some like me but in Singapore.
Okay.
So he's not here personally today, but his friend is here today. But I'm cross collaborating with them on some stuff later this year. But we're starting to see the cross. Like even the website is not just Malaysia. We list all Singaporean tabletop game stores as well. The whole of Indonesia and Brunei. I'm working on the Philippines list as well. So it's to do an industrial measure kind of.
Understandable.
Like I said, it's a very academic approach to this thing. Yeah.
We're going for the nitpicky of details, especially at that point.
Of course, it's statistical nerd.
Yeah, we are also. I'm a statistic nerd, especially when this kind of details is like I'm all in.
Show me the numbers.
Yeah, give me the numbers.
I have it.
Like go all in. Like if you want to talk about money, like okay, let's talk about money. Let's go all in then.
Yeah.
Exactly. But then okay lah. Like overall, your expectations for the whole event, like especially now, what do you think, boss?
Well, the footfall is picking up around us. This is building up towards the peak. There'll eventually be more people to get it out of the way soon.
Yeah, eventually.
But yeah, it's good. Like the worry of any event organizer is that is sunyi, nobody turns up.
Yeah, exactly.
But this is more people than the number of vendors already, so we're good. Usually, end of the day, I'll check in with all the vendors. Do you at least sell one thing today, even if it's the expensive item booths? If they did, or they got more followers or something, that's fine. Then
Yeah, exactly.
They got something out of it, or at least like most of these guys don't know each other. They all know me. They don't know each other, so
it
they're
is-
here to network as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's good. It gives them an environment to play with around, especially.
Yeah.
And it's not, as you said, but it's not like.
Someone was saying like, is this a bazaar? I'm like, not really, because you get to play as well.
mean-
It's not a convention because there's stuff for sale also.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
It's a hybrid of everything.
it's its own thing,
Yeah.
whatever. It's a great kind of event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a nerd's paradise, is what it is.
Try my best.
Yes, but I'm glad. I'm really glad, and I'm grateful for this. And congratulations to your success on this one, especially. And I'm
Yeah,
glad.
thank all these guys for turning up. I'm just a curator, like I keep saying.
Yeah.
I'm like, Iron Man makes a joke for the Avengers. I just make things pretty and pay for everything.
Yeah, I'm literally the clubhouse owner.
They to perform the magic. Yeah,
exactly. But then again, it's like they can't be here if you're not the one bringing them together in the first place.
It takes two to tango.
Tango.
basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So thank you, boss. Thank you for having this interview with me. And I was worried that I could not have the chance to talk to you because
It's okay. It's okay.
with how everything is going.
Hope you can catch it. I don't know how well these mics work.
Is it okay with the microphone thing? They were good. But it's okay. I think it's better. If we cannot, also we can always do post interview after the event and such. So we can always work things out.
As long as you guys get to sit down and play some games.
Oh, I did, and I think I did with just now because my government was worried that I could not get the chance to interview
Yeah.
you. But I wanted to make
Once
sure
you're
that,
sorted, get a table, play something.
yeah, exactly. I was already keen on making sure that everyone gets their story heard because that's what matters to me. Because
I don't know if you have time, but you should definitely interview every booth.
Yeah.
Everyone here is something different.
correct, I am very happy that to hear from the Cape Hobby outpost. So far, just getting to know from the enthusiasts and nerds, especially like them telling about the cards, I was very happy because at least I get a glimpse of what the game is all about. Because as a previous TCG player as well, from Yu-Gi-Oh to Pokemon to Magic, that was nice to see something completely different out of
We
it.
had Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon last year, so we just rotated out. Yeah.
For me, that's what we're gonna do eventually. I'm just gonna spend 1 or 2 hours just hearing everyone telling their ear out, and it's like, okay, this is what we do. All right, I'm all in. Just tell me what you're gonna tell. Then again, it's like I still like it in the future because you did say that you have tabletop events, especially during cafes and everything. Do you announce it as well on the website?
It's all on my website and social media. I run ads for it as well, so you'll see it somehow.
Is it open to public? Just for
Of course, it's open to public. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you
So
just follow the social media and see when announcements happen. Sometimes other people organize events, and I just do shout outs also.
Alright.
So yeah, just share basically, join and share.
I think that's good enough already.
I think that the space around us is getting very
I
crowded.
think we need to
move soon.
buckle up. All right.
Before you run away, you can keep the camera rolling. I want to give you something.
Okay.
So this is actually something I announced on social media literally this morning.
Okay.
I wanted it to be a bit of a surprise. You know how the cool events like KLIF has a stamp rally?
Yeah, exactly.
So people who come to my events, I usually chop their hand like a cool clubbing thing, So we're doing this. It's a
stamp.
stamp, basically. So you bring your own book, you can stamp it. I also got this to give away, so you can have this. So every event, I usually chop this on people's hand. Today's date. And this is for this. So this is actually the Great Eastern Mall with the event logo on it.
Oh,
So
okay.
I made it just for this. And if you're an RPG nerd, this is a
Oh
map
my
of the event to scale, to D&D grid scale. Yeah, I know people are just gonna come around us and see.
No, it's okay, it's okay. I think
I've only
it's-
got 100 of these, so you can have this.
Wait, there's only 100 of
I only
this?
printed 100. Yeah, so it's this event. 5-foot squares as per D&D RPG rules. So yeah.
Okay, that is a lot of effort. Hey, I'm all in. After what we saw the
It's okay.
event at the one, I'm happy to see this kind of
When I
things.
did this event, actually this floor plan that I gave to everyone is to scale.
Two
I
scale.
actually asked them all for the blueprint and I did that.
And then you did the layout for this.
Yeah. I mean,
No, I'm happy.
this is what happens when dungeon masters arrange events.
Okay, guys, let me tell you how we're gonna do this. It's here's the scale of the map.
So every table is about 5 to 6 feet, so you can sort of
Get a
build a grid around it. So yeah, it works out.
Oh my god.
Then that's why you see this is 5 feet. Walking like in a dungeon. So it works. Everything works out. Yeah.
Dude, I'm
glad.
Like I say, I'm just happy that the amount of effort that goes behind it is good. But I think the biggest part, I think the audience now are happy to hear is that like it's not just a basic like, oh, it's just another event. No, there's more to the picture, and I'm glad people are saying it.
I like when people say like, oh, this is the biggest event. I mean, no, I don't want to be the biggest event. I want to be the
meaningful,
the favorite, the crowd favorite event, whatever.
It's
the thing that's like, the organizer really thought about this kind of thing. If I miss something, let me know. We'll try and improve it next round, or I'll figure out a workaround or something. Yeah, we're definitely getting crowded. We need to.
No worries. I think we can end it here, especially. Thank you so much, boss. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to have this conversation with you because it's not every day you get to hear this kind of perspective. Because
you can call me anytime.
Yeah, and I'm glad, and it's a fresh air, not to talk about, about the food traffic, the money. I'm like, okay. It's the same shit bajillion times. Oh yeah, by the way, this came to show the audience especially. Yes.
Yeah.
Very well done. They really go all in with the effort.
So there's actually kind of like a blank page in the middle. We didn't have time to do it properly, but yeah.
No, it's okay. I think honestly the
QR code goes to the website.
Yeah. I mean, it's better. It's way better. But I'm surprised it's only 100. I thought it was like going to be like, oh, just keep throwing up. You give to everyone who can.
I printed it in a hurry yesterday.
Literally last night.
No, because we were rushing to produce this, and I had to get a certain size and everything. Then I was just busy doing so many other things, and this was honestly the last thing to do. That's why I only announced it on social media today, because honestly, this is not integral to the functioning of the rest of the event. So this is like the extra pizzazz that I managed to throw in.
Like, a sprinkle of it.
And if you actually see everyone else has a lanyard, I ran out, I forgot to count myself.
Oh, okay.
But everyone else has a lanyard, you'll see the Kakitiao logo on it. It's the first time I made merch. It only took me 10 years.
So, to conclude from the rest of the video today, I would say that throughout the whole event, it was pretty good. I definitely had a great time enjoying and talking to the people over there at the event, and Gray has definitely done, especially curating and getting everyone together for the event itself was actually quite the insight, because there's a lot of this community and the people that don't really realize that there's a lot to be seen, especially for the TCG community, where especially people who are not very familiar, especially like if you're coming from a background where people are like doing trading, buying cards to sell it to make money. This comes from the perspective where at least the majority of these people actually love to play the game rather than just doing it for the sake of monetary reasons. And I would say that the same goes towards the tabletop experience people, like people who actually get into Dungeons and Dragons and all those kind of things. And that has also been quite a nice experience, because as you can see throughout the video, I had like prior bad experience with the community itself, and this definitely gave me a big breath of fresh air, honestly, because this was kind of things that I was really hoping for to see. It's not because to involve inclusivity of certain people and such, but more towards like there is better minds, fresher minds of people that to get really into this space, especially shows like Stranger Things, where they involved with Dungeons and Dragons as well. That's really put people into a position where they get interested into this kind of hobbies. And there were like other like creative minds of people that really made their own tabletop experience that doesn't revolve around Dungeons and Dragons, and that alone really speaks to me in volumes, because the overall experience itself was really amazing, and I really liked it. The enthusiastic and the eagerness to really show those kind of things to the newcomers, especially to that space, was very much the welcoming breath of fresh air that I wanted. And I do hope that once people do come around to trying out tabletop experience, they see bigger more than whatever the role-playing aspect of it, like rather than just towards D&D. There's more to like other people's versions of it, especially. And I would say the same regarding about the miniature and the painting, especially because despite the Warhammer experience for a lot of people that's now really getting into the scene, I do believe that can also be the gateway for a lot of other things, especially like actual figurines and like gunplas and such, because those are also like quite in-depth and more analytic in terms of like how to sculpture those things and like paint those things and design in the way that how you want it to be. So I do hope that eventually it gets people up into like actually learning to get into painting, especially for the younger demographic and also like much older ones especially. So I do hope that it gets to the point where people really starts to go creative how they want to design it, however they want it. And I would like to end it off with the whole community for the tabletop games, especially like those Rats to Riches, especially, and a few other live vendors as well that was there. Amazing. I truly so grateful that the local scene, especially for the Asian regions, especially, it's quite the journey. I don't think I've like really explored the outside the boundaries outside the ones that's been shown from, like, Hasbro has already been shown, which is like the whole tabletop experience of like those board games especially. But this definitely gave me quite the insight, because aside from what I have recently got up to speed with, like, few games that I would say that was very in such similar ways, but overall this was a lot more nicer because it's centered towards local people here, and it might have a chance to as well to explore outside the boundaries of its own local cuisines here, especially because I do believe the whole world deserves to have give a taste of what the gaming community, the tabletop gaming community itself can be really be seen. And I do hope that in the future, with Gray and his team, is allowed to expand his team, and especially the event itself, towards more locations and allowing more people to really see inside what this group can really show. Because I do believe people do have a chance to like explore their creative boundaries and imaginations and play these games that involves like really bonding the community together. And I do hope to others as well that they had prior bad experience and overall general hate towards like certain parts of the people within those communities. I do believe that you can make your own group of friends that's much different, and if you're coming from a background where you have no prior friends and such, I do believe there are always people within those community that will accept you with welcome arms. It takes a little bit of convincing, a lot of understanding amongst each other that to really bond them over this kind of things. And I do hope that in the future that this will definitely grow and keeps growing to where it needs to be. And I'd like to thank Gray and his team for allowing us to do media coverage for their event, and this has been a wonderful experience for me especially. And on behalf of everyone, thank you for watching the video, and I hope you like and subscribe to videos and check out all our medias profiles from other social platforms that we have. Do keep in touch with us. We're hoping that we can start to really ramp up our co-production one way or another. Overall, thank you so much, and I hope you had a good time. Thank you.